All right, I've got 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you don't mind joining me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. This meeting has been posted in all the normal and customary places. Just real quick, Rebecca Imes is not present tonight.
Correct.
Okay. Just looking for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Motion to approve Monday, August 19th, 2024's agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. All right, we're going to move into our community forum, which is an opportunity for anyone to speak to the board, and the board can interact back. As a reminder, it is part of our agenda, so it will be recorded as part of the public record. So we have one person signed up to speak. Andrew Lehman, would you like to speak?
I watched last month's board meeting, and had a couple of good questions regarding the vote that was taken with the district 5-year strategic plan. There were 2 no votes without any discussion whatsoever of state positions, and so just curious, Troy, we can start with you, just why you voted no for the 5-year strategic plan.
I had an issue with something in pillar 1 with students climate.
What?
Climate. I believe I don't have that in front of me, so. And then pillar 2. I discussed with Ron, I had an issue with one of the points in pillar 2 with employees.
With employees.
Yeah.
So the two objectives in pillar 1 was strengthening academic growth for all students. The other objective was strengthen personal growth by focusing on Merton values. So there's something in both of those that.
There's something in one of, I don't have it in front of me. I'd have to have it sheet pulled up in front of me.
Okay, and then with the employee one, it was strengthen employee recruitment and retention and strengthen employee engagement.
It was, I think bullet point 1.
Okay.
Of the 4 that I discussed with Ron.
Okay, but what is it that the issue is specifically?
But it's something I'm not gonna speak on in public forum.
Well, we're not talking about specific employees, it's just.
I just feel that that shouldn't be a part of the strategic plan.
Okay, so. And how about you, Justin? Why were you against?
Yeah, so it's clear we passed it, right? Strategic plan passed.
But to be fair, 40% voted against.
We're a board of 5, right? The strategic plan passed, right? I had concerns with parts of it. Ron and I have discussed my concerns for many, many months. Was not a surprise to Ron the way I voted, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, what were the concerns?
I'll leave it at that.
If you don't want to share your concerns as the board president, what's in the strategic plan?
There are pieces of it that I was not comfortable with. And Ron and I have had those discussions.
The community doesn't get to know what those things are as a.
The plan passed, right? There are things that, yes, I specifically had concerns with, right?
I don't know what those are. Could you explain those to me?
Sure. Right. All right. I can explain it too. One, I don't view that public education, our purpose is to put in our strategic plan about teacher compensation, right? I believe that's separate from educating students. Okay. And then there's parts of there that I just did not feel were a fit for what I feel is the best move forward for Merton Community School District in terms of our I think it was pillar 1 or pillar 2. Ron, we had this discussion. Was it pillar 1 or
Pillar
2?
2.
Pillar 2.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like it was the right fit
Yep.
for that. And that's why I voted against it.
So my follow-up question for both of you is, what would you have liked to have seen in the plan that wasn't in the plan?
I don't know. Don't have an answer for you on that one.
Troy?
I wouldn't have liked to see bullet point number 1. Correct.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Bullet point number 1.
removed,
That's what I would, yeah, I wouldn't like to
but
see.
other than that, you didn't have a problem.
And the part in the students. As far as climate.
So I guess, what's the message our staff and teachers should take away from 40% of the board not, going along with Digit Sanctuary Board?
I don't think there's a message that they should take out of it at all.
Same. It passed.
They just don't have the support.
That's not true at all. No, that's not true at all. There are pieces of that strategic plan that I was not comfortable voting for, right? The committee did a lot of work, right? Ron and I were in communication for several months on my concerns right after I got elected. I wasn't going to push them back and say, hey, here's things I want to change. That wasn't the role that I view that I had, right? My job is to plan as presented and to decide yes or no. And I voted no against it. But the board as a whole voted for it, and that's the direction the district will be going and moving forward. All right, was there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay. We shall move forward to approval of the consent agenda items. So looking for a motion there.
So
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, say no.
no,
Motion carries 3-1. All right, we are moving forward to delegations to be heard. Is there anyone like to speak as delegations to be heard? All right, seeing none, we shall move forward to the district administrator's report.
Yep, so again, just kind of an open records report. We had one open record, typical. That's come through, I think this month, so nothing out of the ordinary for open records, so. Yep, and tonight we have Act 20, an update on Act 20, which our staff is going to be knee deep in here, starting tomorrow, the full staff. And again, a big thank you to Maria and her team and our leadership teams for organizing that. And we've got a full review and a quick overview of what's been happening. So Maria, want to come on down? I see you're going to be using the projector.
I
We'll just-
slides. That's not bad. So I just wanted to give a little update of where we are in implementing a lot of the legal requirements for Act 20. And just let the board know where the state is, what changes have happened since last spring that were decided over the summer that are quickly impacting even the school year, like as of tomorrow with training. So as you know, I shared with the board the Wisconsin Reads website, which has all the updates, and they consistently update that. So that's a great resource if you want information. DPI has many program updates that happened over the summer, but for Merton, they didn't affect us. I just listed them there because we don't have a Montessori, bilingual, nor a rechoice or a private school. So we don't have that requirements. The Early Literacy Curriculum Council met last on August 13th, and they are looking at DPI Legal Counsel. There's a lot of continued back and forth over from vendors who submitted stuff for their programs to be considered for Act 20 that weren't approved in the process DPI used. Well, actually, the process that the council used, DPI did their own process and came up with their own different lists. And then the Joint Finance Committee picked the council's list and not DPI's list. So there's still some questions about the legal pieces on all those. So that's been a part of those meetings. They meet monthly, sometimes more than that. And they're really clarifying the role of that literacy curriculum council, which is like listed as that in state law versus a council that the state superintendent has always had which was titled the State Reading Advisory Council. So they're doing all of that work. On the Wisconsin Reads website, we have Act 20 frequently asked questions that continue to be updated. And just so you know, we're still waiting on DPI to release funding for the statewide early coaches. They were supposed to be funded starting this school year and funded through 2026. They still have not done any hiring or any work around that. So we don't really know where that's going to lead for implementations. But that was the requirement where they would have actual state coaches in each of our CISA areas determined and available for districts to use. So what kind of happened over the summer for the state? The good news is for Merton is we're familiar with all of this, which is, you know, sometimes a big like, yay. So the universal screener was approved. It's Imes Web Plus. That is what we need to do starting in winter. So they did change the timeline in that at the end of spring from fall, just because they decided this in July and didn't know it wasn't enough time for training and everything to be up and done. We have used Merton's Imes Web Plus as a universal screener already in our district. It was used my first year here in K-2. Our teachers didn't really like it because it was so short with the information, which is why we didn't stay with it, but it's going to be right back on our doorstep. The good news is you'll see that it's short. It's 5 to 17 minutes per student. So it's very kind of quick and efficient. We've been continuing to use that tool as a progress monitoring tool in the district. So our students, we're all kind of up with it already, which is kind of nice. And again, some of our district has had training on that. Now we'll have to renorm because we've done a lot of hiring in the last couple of years on everyone, but it is. They also approved a list of diagnostic assessments that are required. So for every student that's below the 25th percentile on Imes Web, we have a required diagnostic that we have to give all of them. And the good news is iReady is listed. So that's awesome. We don't have to train staff on a new diagnostic tool. We already are using it and familiar with it. So that's a great, great thing. Others approved Imes Web Plus can be used also as a diagnostic, FastBridge Star, Mira Map, some things that you might be familiar hearing other districts. And the lawmakers approved changes and then deadlines for implementing. The universal screener would be ready a little later this fall, up and running. They have a special website, but it's not all rostered because DPI is doing that. So you might be able to use it if you want to, but otherwise it will be ready for winter. And then they also changed when personal reading plans need to be implemented. And just to remind you, anyone below the 25th percentile is required to have a personal reading plan. And that includes our students with disabilities. So we're partnering with special education to see if we're going to be building those plans in students' IEPs or if we're going to be housing them separately. But we have a little more time to figure that out. And I think that's pretty much just a little update for Merton. We are continuing to review for a data warehouse. We shared that last spring, did ask Ron to budget that. It's very hard to manage 50 personal reading plans outside of something managing all our data coming in. And a quick timeline for reporting to parents and families. So we're looking at a data warehouse, hopefully going to have some decisions by November and start to at least get our information and onboarding, although we won't do a lot of heavy professional development. Our ELA review, as you know, we're implementing MyView and our science of reading protocols and practices. And we're doing that MyView training starting tomorrow. And we're completing our Wisconsin required reading training through Cox Academy, which is a free training. It takes around 30 hours. So we build that in our professional learning plan. Perhaps you remember that when you approved it in May for the most part. And we're really working at organizing that Cox Academy training to what we want our teachers to do in MyView. So for example, tomorrow, they're doing their training on read alouds. And then right after that, we're going to be looking at how read alouds are in my view. So it kind of tells the why we're changing how we do our practice different and getting right into our new materials. And it's kind of like that all year. So we'll be growing and learning more about my view and the changes in our routines as we go. And we do have a requirement that the principals are trained. And the good news is Bob came to us trained. So he did that in his former district and meets the training requirement for that. Our 4K is going to do a little mini curriculum review this year to try to bring some of the new science of reading and planning and preparation for that. I continue to go through the WASB, like whatever, 12-page or 80, whatever, 80 thing checklist, making sure we're on that. And we did have the requirement of a legally required Merton remediation plan, which is done in time for the start of the school year and on our website as required. And I did do a lot of updates on our own Merton Science of Reading website on our literacy page. So our parents can look there for our remediation plans, frequently asked questions, our materials, et cetera. So that's kind of a quick overview and update of where we are. It's really the heart of the work this year. A lot of time going into that. Any questions from any board members? Justin?
That the additional testing for those students, or is it just gonna be?
So because we do iReady for all kids, that would count. So we won't have to do. It isn't. Now, we still might want to do some additional testing with students, like a dyslexia screener, something that else might come to us. We have a whole cadre of things, but.
You mentioned 50, managing 50 reading plans.
Yes. If I took the lowest 25th percentile on that test, that's about where Merton was. Now, it doesn't matter why a kid fell with that. And I say that because all of these tests are norms. So a kid might be really high here and really low here and average here. If we gave the diagnostic on iReady, maybe they wouldn't fall for the 25th percentile and they'll be at the 40th and we won't see an issue, but we're still required to have a reading.
Okay, thank you.
And that's K through 3 now. Normally in kindergarten, it's so developmentally appropriate, and 4K and K, they grow so fast. I'm really kind of nervous about, you know, how we communicate to parents that there's a concern in reading, because there might not be. It's just how kids are developing, so.
I remember that phone call.
Yeah,
Thank you for organizing all of this and keeping us on track.
yeah, no, it's my job and kind of gets my nerd on. I'm excited. I don't think our staff is as excited about the nerd on as I am, but.
We'll find out tomorrow.
I just want to say, I want to give a shout out to Mary Metz, who's our primary instructional literacy specialist, and she's just amazing. And we have worked all summer at making sure that these aren't separate things for our staff, that they're learning and applying it to the new resource at the same time. And she has just worked way above and beyond, and I'm so grateful for that.
Maria has something to say. So thank you, Maria. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Maria, for the update.
Do you need any of this?
Nope, I won't need any big Maria.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're moving forward to committee reports, which I don't think we
Nope,
have
no
any committee
committees.
reports
Nope.
tonight. So then we're going to the new business, which is new policy approval and old policy deletions.
Yep, so this is our last big batch. So again, thank you to everybody who's participated in our journey for the last 3 years of redoing our complete policy guide. So this is it for the 800. So just I don't know who wants to do the honors again.
800s and policy
And
341.
341.1, correct, which is our literacy
To,
ties to act length.
well,
All right,
stupid what's work, you know?
here we go. It's number 12,
Oh, is it?
right? If I'm reading it correctly, okay.
You can go out of order. It's up to you.
We got a lot to keep straight here. We're going in order. All right, number one, motion to approve policy 811 parent involvement that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve policy 811 parent involvement. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed say no. Sorry, yes. Motion carries.
Motion to approve policy 821 district use of social media that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve policy 821 district use of social media. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Motion to approve policy 824 district legal notices that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
We have a motion and a second to approve policy 824 district legal notices. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Motion to approve policy 831 tobacco and nicotine-free schools that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
We have a motion and a second to approve policy 831 tobacco and nicotine-free schools. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Motion to approve policy 832 weapons on school premises that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
We have a motion and a second to approve policy 832 weapons on school premises. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Motion to delete policy 8008 and replace with policy 834 use of district equipment by third parties, public use that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
We have a motion and a second to delete policy 8008 and replace with policy 834 use of district equipment by third parties, public use. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Motion to approve policy 840 public gifts to the district and sponsorship that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
We have a motion and a second to approve policy 840 public gifts to the district and sponsorship. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Motion to delete policies 8003, 8004, and 8006 and replace with policy 850 sales and solicitations on school property that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
Here a second. Yeah. We have a motion and a second to delete policies 8003, 8004, and 8006 and replace with policy 850 sales and solicitations on school property. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Motion to delete policies 8007 and 8007.8 and replace with policy 852 distributions of materials to students that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
We have a motion and a second to delete policies 8007 and 8007A and replace with policy 852 distribution of materials to students. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Motion to delete policy 8009 and replace with policy 860 visitors to schools that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
We have a motion and a second to delete policy 8009 and replace with policy 860 visitors to schools. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Motion to delete policy 4009 and replace with policy 870, public complaints with that. Start again.
That has.
Oh,
Motion to delete policy 4009 and replace with policy 870, public comments that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to delete policy 4009 and replace with policy 870, public complaints. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Motion to approve policy 341.1, district reading goals and early literacy program that has been recommended by the policy committee and provided to the full board for its consideration and action.
We have a motion and a second to approve policy 341.1, district reading goals and early literacy program. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. That wraps up policies.
Yep, that's it.
Thanks, policy committee, for the work on those.
Thank you.
All right, moving forward to future meeting and agenda items.
Yep, so we got our annual meeting budget hearing. I know Nicole is not able to make that evening. Again, that's a opportunity for the community to come, and community gets to vote on a lot of things too there. So, and give some feedback to the board as we begin to think about setting that final budget and levy come October. So then our next monthly meeting is September 30th. Then October 28th. Sorry, it was a misprint in the packet.
So it's not the.
It's not the 21st. Nope, it is the 28th that we discussed last time. The reason for it to be as late as possible is because we get our final budget numbers, get that to the finance committee, and away we go. And then for November, looking at November 18th. That I know it's not the last Monday of the month, but that week, our families are off. We have no students, and we just have some professional development happening there. So just wondering if the 18th works for people. We can go the 25th too if we want, but
18 works for me.
It works.
November 18th. When is Thanksgiving? The 28th?
The following.
very late this
Very
year.
late. Okay, so yeah, the 18th should work.
18th should work. Yep. Okay, so we'll tentatively slide that in there for that.
Okay. Just looking for a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.